Let's begin today with a deadline that is fast approaching for Christine Blasey Ford. The Senate Judiciary Committee says she has until tomorrow morning to decide if she'll testify about her sexual assault allegation against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh.
Ford wants the FBI to investigate her claim before testifying. Well, last night, her lawyer accused Senate Republicans of running, quote, not a fair or good faith investigation. Nancy Cordes is on Capitol Hill.
Where I'm focused right now is doing everything that we can to make Dr. Ford comfortable with coming before our committee.
Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley sent a letter to Democrats last night outlining his plans for an investigation. Committee aides, he said, were reaching out to Mark Judge and two other unnamed alleged witnesses. Democrats, he added, had thus far declined to participate.
Republicans say the committee is more than capable of doing this investigation itself.
Well, are they doing it? Nobody knows what they're doing.
Democrats want the FBI to reopen Kavanaugh's background check. Kavanaugh denies the allegations.
He is such an outstanding man. Very hard for me to imagine that anything happened.
Republicans are wary of a time-consuming, unpredictable probe.
Wouldn't an FBI investigation shed light on some of these allegations?
I don't have enough information to make that decision.
The FBI investigated Anita Hill's sexual harassment allegations against Clarence Thomas nearly 27 years ago.
These FBI reports are extremely important.
John Danforth, who guided Justice Thomas through the confirmation process, says an independent investigation is key to a fair outcome.
The FBI has a responsibility to conduct background investigations. They do it all the time.
More than 1,000 of Ford's fellow alumni have now signed a letter to say they support her. Samantha Gary has known Ford since middle school.
We have no doubt that this was, in fact, her experience, and I think she's detailed it admirably in the letter that she originally sent.
CBS News chief congressional correspondent Nancy Cordes has been following the story on Capitol Hill. So, Nancy, we've heard from Blasey Ford's lawyer calling for an FBI probe into the misconduct allegations. You know, what's the view? What are you hearing from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle?
Well, Republicans say that they have practically bent over backwards to try to accommodate Ford. They say she's welcome to testify in public. She can testify in private. She can do a more intimate interview. They say they're even willing to send staffers out to her home in California to talk to her there. So they say she's got a whole bunch of options on the table. The one option that she doesn't have is to demand an FBI investigation. They say the Senate can investigate and already is. In fact, they revealed that they had interviewed Judge Kavanaugh under oath on Monday. Republican staffers, at least, had done that interview because they said Democrats refused to participate. Democrats, as you know, have been arguing that the only way to get to the truth is an impartial FBI investigation because the Senate is pretty partisan these days. We've been watching in particular to see what some of these more moderate Republicans would say. Would they demand an FBI investigation, or would they say that she should come forward and testify as she had been invited to do? And interestingly, moderate Susan Collins of Maine said that she was disappointed that Ford had been offered so many different opportunities, to so many different ways that she could tell her story, and that she appeared to have rejected all of them. Jeff Flake of Arizona, who had also been very adamant that there should be a public hearing, he practically begged Ford to come and accept the invitation to appear. So there are limits to what they are willing to see happen in this situation. They say that she should have a voice, that she should be given the opportunity to speak, but they are not in favor, apparently, of an FBI investigation, which could last weeks or even more.
Right, which means they're not in favor of delaying the vote more than they already have, because it was supposed to happen this week, Thursday. They're obviously delaying it until after Monday's hearing. I think that's really interesting. Some of these moderate Republicans, like Flake, have they indicated whether or not we don't know if Blasey, if she's going to show up or not, but have they indicated whether or not, if she does not show up, will that sort of help them make a decision on their vote? Are they sort of, have they made a decision, or are they still waffling back and forth?
Well, we're reading the tea leaves here, but the fact that they are pushing her to accept the invitation and testify on Monday signals to a lot of people around here who have been waiting to see where Collins would come down on the overall question of whether she supports Kavanaugh's nomination. People have read that to indicate that, barring some major revelation, she is leaning towards voting yes. That Flake is leaning towards voting yes. They say if they had major misgivings about this situation, that they would probably be pushing for an FBI investigation too. They have shown a willingness to buck their party in the past, so why wouldn't they do it now? Meantime, the Judiciary Committee just yesterday scheduled a meeting for next Wednesday, and that's something that they typically do, schedule a business meeting when they plan to hold an important vote. So right now, the assumption is that whatever happens on Monday, whether Kavanaugh comes and testifies alone, whether Ford does in fact take up the invitation, which she has until tomorrow to decide to do, whatever happens on Monday, Republicans are pushing ahead with a plan to vote midweek in committee. So yes, they say they are conducting an investigation, but apparently it is going to be a very rapid one.
Just one more question before you go about this Monday hearing. So we know that Kavanaugh is showing up. We don't know whether or not Blasey Ford is showing up. Anyone else on that list that might be testifying?
No, and that is what Ford's lawyers said last night is so unfair about the process, in their words. They said that there should be other witnesses testifying as well to back up her story if there isn't going to be any independent FBI corroboration of her story. They say that's the least that the committee could do to sort of backstop her credibility. Republicans have been very clear they only intend to invite her and Judge Kavanaugh. If she doesn't show up, we really don't know what happens. We don't know if the committee goes ahead with the hearing because, after all, even though Kavanaugh has said that he is eager for an opportunity to defend himself, whether that's the best setting is a matter of debate for Republicans. They're not sure whether allowing him to be grilled by the 10 Democrats on the committee for a couple of hours is really a great move. Why take that risk? Instead, they may offer him some other type of public setting to mount his defense and just scrap the hearing altogether. But either way, they appear to be, trying to keep the pressure on, trying to keep the momentum going, and trying to hold a vote in the committee next week.
Yeah, really, no matter what happens, the story is out there. It's out part of the public conversation, and it may very well end up always being sort of an asterisk beside Judge Kavanaugh's name, because this is what we are going to remember about the process for him. Nancy Cordes, thank you.
You're welcome.